Let's get right into it. Number 1, the hero edit. Imagine you're the star of your own movie. In your head, the soundtrack swells when you finally remember to floss 2 nights in a row, and every minor inconvenience is a plot twist sent by the cruel screenwriter of destiny. That's your brain doing its favorite hobby, editing reality into something that flatters you. Psychologists call this self-enhancement bias, but let's be honest, it's basically the Instagram filter for your life. Your brain takes the raw footage, looks at it, and goes, needs more main character energy. So, when you think about that embarrassing moment in middle school where you spilled juice all over your crush, your memory insists, actually, I played it off really well, super smooth. Meanwhile, everyone else remembers you sobbing into a Capri Sun. Why does this happen? Because your brain has a PR department, and that PR department's job is to keep you convinced you're doing okay, even when you're not. If you walked around thinking, wow, I am a constant disaster, you'd never get out of bed. The brain, ever the overprotective parent, just lies a little to keep you moving. The problem is that sometimes your internal hype man overshoots. Like when you apply for a job you're not remotely qualified for and think, they'd be lucky to have me, and then the hiring manager looks at your resume, sees skills once binge-watched Friends in 48 hours, and politely shreds it. It's not self-delusion, it's narrative control, and like every bad Hollywood reboot, it just keeps happening whether you want it to or not. Number 2, memory, the terrible librarian. People like to think of memory as a filing cabinet, neat, organized, factual. That's adorable and completely wrong. Memory is more like that one coworker who insists they remember everything perfectly, but then gets your name wrong every single time. When you recall something, you're not pulling a dusty file off a shelf. You're rebuilding it, like reconstructing a crime scene from blurry photos and vibes, and every time you remember it, you change it a little. Psychologists call this memory reconsolidation. I call it brain fanfiction. That's why your sibling swears they told the best joke at Thanksgiving 2012 while you remember you saying it. Both of you are wrong. It was your uncle, and it wasn't even funny, but you'd never believe that now because your brain has patched over the details like a bad drywall job. The kicker. Your brain doesn't care if the memory is accurate, it cares if it makes sense, which is why eyewitness testimony is about as reliable as a fortune cookie. Entire trials hinge on what amounts to a human etch-a-sketch. So yeah, next time you say, I remember it like it was yesterday, what you really mean is, I remember a heavily revised, director's cut version of yesterday that may or may not feature plot holes and unlicensed soundtracks, but hey, at least it's entertaining. Number 3, the confidence scam. We've all been there. You walk into a room, say something with enough conviction, and suddenly people nod along like you just dropped divine wisdom. The brain loves confidence even when it's completely unearned. This is called the illusion of explanatory depth. Basically, your brain tricks you into thinking you understand something way better than you do. Like, you nod smugly when someone mentions the economy, but if pressed to explain how interest rates work, you'll crumble faster than a cookie in hot tea. It's not just you, everyone's brain runs this scam. It's why people think they could totally survive a bear attack. Really? You. Chad, the guy who pulled a hamstring getting out of an Uber. The confidence scam is useful, though if your brain didn't hand out free I got this coupons, you'd never try anything new, you wouldn't learn to drive, or cook, or attempt karaoke sober. But the side effect is that we all strut around like experts, confidently sharing half-baked takes, and the whole species ends up sounding like a broken Wikipedia page. Your brain doesn't want the truth, it wants the vibe, so it keeps dressing up ignorance in a tuxedo and sending it out to shake hands. Number 4, the pattern hoax. Picture this, you're walking down the street and you see 2 pigeons staring at you. Then, later, your phone battery dies at exactly 66%. Coincidence? Absolutely. But your brain is already drawing lines between those events like it's auditioning for a beautiful mind. Your brain hates randomness. Chaos is terrifying, so it constantly invents patterns where none exist. Psychologists call this apophenia. I call it the Charlie Day conspiracy board effect. Suddenly, everything is connected to pigeons. Your dead phone, that weird fortune cookie message. Obviously, the universe is trying to tell you something. Spoiler, it's not. This is the same mental glitch that fuels conspiracy theories, lucky socks, and the belief that the microwave beeping 3 times is a coded message from the afterlife. The brain is like a toddler with crayons, it will draw connections anywhere, even if it's just scribbles. And sure, sometimes seeing patterns helps, like recognizing that fire burns or that Taco Bell at 2 a.m. is a terrible idea. But when your brain insists that Mercury being in retrograde explains why you forgot your keys, that's just the pattern hoax talking. The punchline: the brain would rather be confidently wrong than admit it's all random noise, which is why you're out here thinking the pigeons are plotting against you instead of realizing they're just pigeons, plotting against everyone equally. Number 5, the future optimism bug. Let's talk about the scam called optimism bias. Basically, your brain is a motivational speaker with no credentials. It whispers, "Don't worry, future you will totally handle it." Meanwhile, present you's eating cold pizza in bed at 2 p.m. This is why you sign up for gym memberships in January like you're about to become the next Marvel superhero. Future: you will definitely wake up at 5 a.m. for cardio. Future: you will definitely cook quinoa bowls instead of inhaling Oreos. But future you is a fraud. Future you is just you, but slightly older and angrier. The optimism bug keeps you from spiraling into despair, which is nice, but it also explains why people plan weddings, road trips, or group projects with a level of confidence that reality will happily slap across the face. You underestimate time, money, stress, you name it. Your brain says, "We'll figure it out." Reality says, "Good luck, champ." It's the reason procrastination feels so logical in the moment. Future me can deal with this 20-page essay, and then future you arrives, stares at the clock, and mutters, "Past me is a criminal." In short, optimism bias is the brain's way of sprinkling glitter on a dumpster fire. It looks shiny until you get close enough to smell the smoke. Number 6, the gossip factory. Here's something fun. Your brain is obsessed with stories, not facts, not data stories. It's basically a gossipy neighbor that can't resist connecting events into a juicy narrative. This is called the narrative fallacy. Instead of just accepting that random things happen, your brain needs a plot. Like, if you trip on the sidewalk, your brain immediately spins it. The universe is punishing me for mocking Janet's shoes earlier. Nope, you just have clumsy ankles. Stories feel satisfying because they give chaos a beginning, middle, and end. History textbooks are full of this trick, massive wars boiled down to a few key causes, as if humans didn't just blunder around chaotically for decades. It's like explaining a tornado by saying, "It was meant to happen, part of a bigger story arc." This is also why you think of your life in chapters. Even though it's really just one long, unedited live stream, your brain keeps slapping titles on it like the college years, the summer of bad decisions, and that time I thought I could cut my own hair. The brain doesn't want truth, it wants tea, and if reality won't provide it, the brain will happily invent a plot twist just to keep things interesting. Number 7, the dopamine trick. Your brain is basically a sleazy car salesman pushing dopamine. Every time you do something mildly rewarding like checking your phone, eating chocolate, or finally remembering a co-worker's name, it hands you a little chemical high five. Cute, right? Except it also lies about how much you need that high five. That's why scrolling TikTok for just 5 minutes turns into a 3-hour marathon where you've learned nothing except that raccoons can open doors. Your brain doles out dopamine like free samples at Costco, convincing you that the next swipe, the next click, the next notification will be the one. Spoiler, it never is. This trick worked fine in the Stone Age, when a burst of dopamine meant, "Congrats, you found berries, now don't die of starvation." But in 2025, dopamine is like that friend who keeps saying, "One more drink," until you're dancing with a traffic cone on your head. The irony: dopamine isn't even about pleasure, it's about anticipation. Your brain hypes up the reward more than the reward itself. It's like going to Disney World and realizing the car ride there was the most exciting part. So the next time you're deep in a notification loop, just remember, your brain isn't addicted to fun, it's addicted to hope. Which, honestly, is even funnier and way more pathetic. Number 8, the social approval lie. If you've ever changed your opinion mid-sentence because everyone else in the room raised an eyebrow, congrats, you've been scammed by your own brain. Humans are wired for conformity. Deep down, your brain believes being wrong with the group is safer than being right alone. Psychologists proved this with the classic line experiment. They showed people lines of obviously different lengths and asked which matched. When the group confidently chose the wrong one, most participants agreed even though their eyeballs were screaming, "That's not right." Why? Because your brain equates social rejection with death. Back in caveman days, getting kicked out of the tribe meant no food, no protection, and eventually becoming bear food. So your brain evolved to whisper, "Better to agree with Steve's dumb idea than risk dying alone in the wilderness." The modern version is liking a movie everyone else praises, even though you secretly thought it was hot garbage, or nodding at a meeting like, "Yes, excellent synergy," when you have no clue what synergy even means. Your brain's mantra is simple fit in first, think later, and the punchline. Half the people you're copying are just as clueless as you. It's a conga line of lies, and your brain insists you keep dancing. Number 9, the fear amplifier. Here's the thing about fear, your brain is terrible at measuring it. You're more likely to die slipping in the shower than being attacked by a shark. But which one gets its own movie franchise exactly? Your brain evolved to overreact to threats because being a little paranoid kept your ancestors alive. Hear a twig snap in the dark. Better assume it's a tiger. Worst case scenario, you look silly. Best case, you don't get eaten. Fast forward to today, and your brain still cranks the fear dial up to 11. That's why turbulence feels like death. But driving on the freeway while texting somehow feels fine. Statistically, one is way deadlier. Your brain just has bad math. And don't get me started on phobias. Perfectly harmless things, clowns, buttons, butterflies can feel like doomsday triggers because your brain accidentally filed them in the danger folder. It's like your mental antivirus program is running Windows 95. The punchline. Your brain is a drama queen. It doesn't want accuracy. It wants you on high alert, clutching your popcorn, waiting for the next jump scare, even if the villain is just a squeaky balloon. Number 10, the hindsight illusion. You know that smug little feeling you get after something happens, where your brain goes, "Oh yeah, I totally saw that coming, sus, yeah." That's fake. That's the hindsight bias, your brain rewriting history to make you look like Nostradamus. It happens everywhere. A couple breaks up, obvious red flags, your brain insists never mind that you were rooting for them on Instagram last week. A company goes bankrupt, I knew they were doomed. Sure you did. Warren Buffett. The truth is, your brain can't stand the idea that the future is unpredictable. Randomness freaks it out, so once the outcome is clear, your brain retrofits the past like it's slapping new IKEA parts onto an old chair. Suddenly, it all makes sense. It's comforting, but also delusional. This is why people think history was inevitable, like World War II was bound to happen, or that blockbuster tech companies were obviously destined for success. No, Karen. It was chaos, accidents, and people winging it 99% of the time. The irony believing you saw it coming makes you worse at predicting the future because you're too busy polishing your fake crystal ball. But hey, at least your brain gave you a free ego boost while the universe laughed behind your back. Number 11, the ego smoke machine. Finally, let's talk about the pièce de résistance, your ego. Your brain loves lying to protect it. Fail a test. The teacher was unfair. Bomb a presentation. The mic wasn't working. Get dumped. They couldn't handle my awesomeness? Sure, buddy. This defense mechanism is called self-serving bias, and it's basically your brain's way of fogging up the mirror so you don't have to stare at your own mistakes. Successes. Those are obviously because you're talented and hardworking. Failures, pure bad luck. On the surface, it's hilarious. On a deeper level, it keeps you from spiraling into a shame pit. If every failure felt like an indictment of your very soul, you'd be living under a blanket fort forever. The smoke machine keeps you functional, even if it also makes you delusional. Of course, it backfires when the lies get too thick. People who can never admit fault, they're running their ego fog machine at full blast. The result? Human foghorns wandering around shouting, "It's not me, it's everyone else." So yeah, your brain lies to you not because it's evil, but because it's your lifelong hype man. Spin doctor, an emotional bodyguard rolled into one. Just don't forget to occasionally poke through the smoke and admit maybe, just maybe you were the problem. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.